Hi, this is Dr. Jenny Mitchell, and I'm going to show you today how to work with a radar chart. In this assignment, let's assume that you're going to be working with Porter's Five Forces, and I've got just an example here of Porter's Five Forces, and this is out of MarketLine. This is showing the global cloud computing industry, and you'll notice there are 5 points: buyer power, degree of rivalry, new entrants, substitutes, and supplier power. And these are, this is a filled in radar, so you can actually do that when you're only talking about the industry. You're not doing a comparison. But I also want to show you that if I go down here in MarketLine, you're going to have the categories. These are the drivers of buyer power. And we have backwards integration, buyer independence, buyer size, financial muscle, low cost switching, oligopsony threat, price sensitivity, product dispensability, tendency to switch, undifferentiated product. So I want to take a minute and show you a little bit about what that means. And so what I have here in front of you is an Excel sheet, and I've actually, I'm going to show you a couple things here. In this one right here that I'm highlighting, I'll highlight that in yellow so you can see it. I have taken my organization and looked at it across those 5 components, and then I've compared my organization to 4 other organizations because I basically want to see where I land in this overall Porter's Five Forces. And what I've done is I've created a radar chart. If you set it up this way, all you're doing is that you're going like this, highlighting it. You're going to insert recommended charts, all charts, and then you're going down here to radar, and you have some different ones. You have the filled in one and so on. And actually when you're wanting to do a comparison, it's best to use that line chart. I'm not going to say okay, but I'll just hit cancel for now. Basically a buyer or a power of 1 is much lower than of course a power of 5. So I've done a comparison of the organizations here, but now I want to show you what that means for that second batch that we were looking at. Let me bring that back up so that you can see. Here's that second one that we were looking at, that buyer power, and you'll see that it's got a couple of things. It's got a legend up here that shows that it is basically just a medium level here, and your buyer independence of 5 means that buyer has a lot of independence. But let me just show you what those mean. So I've got the categories here across here, and you see this is the organization chart I made. But here is the explanation, and I just pulled these from the Data Monitor MarketLine Advantage information. So it may not be specifically relevant to your organization. The wording might be different, but it should help you figure it out. So for example, backward integration, if I put it in perspective of something like St. Mary of the Woods College, for example, then you would expect that a good student would expect some type of scholarship or help to get into the college. They expect that. So that's what we mean by backward integration. In other words, there's a buyer can actually want some kind of discount. Then we get to buyer independence. Anyway, you can see what each of these are, and I just pulled these from the explanation of the MarketLine so that you can see this. I found this one kind of interesting, that oligopoly threat. I thought that was pretty interesting. And then of course price sensitivity and price dispensability and tendency to switch and undifferentiated product. So essentially what you can see is the more you differentiate your product from your competitors, the better you have against buyer power. So again, to do this radar here, I just go here. I'm going to go with my recommended charts, pick all my charts, go find my radar. And actually on this one I might want to do a filled chart here instead of just that one. And you'll notice here that I have actually put a legend here, which I could put right into the right into the chart if I wanted to, that 1 is low power and 5 is high power. You have to think about it. And some prefer, you know, that you use low, medium, high. So we're kind of leaving out the 4s and the 2s, but you kind of get an idea of how this might work. The other thing I want to point out, I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. I look for some images on the internet. Let me see if I can move this, bring to front here so you can see it, of Porter's 5 forces, and I found several that were on there. And if you'll notice, they don't always list the same thing that we have in the MarketLine Advantage, but I do want you to get used to using those same components for when we drill down into one of those, whether it's bargaining power suppliers or buyers, or the threat of substitute products, or the threat of new entrants. You should really look at how the MarketLine has put those together, because that's kind of the industry standard and the key for Porter's 5 forces. The best place to look for that is in MarketLine Advantages for the industry. But what you're doing in your assignment is basically kind of bringing that, looking at your organization, and comparing it to your peers. In other words, the fiercest competitors you have are usually your peers. So that helps you really look and really analyze where you fit in the overall competition and the rivalry that exists. So hopefully this helps you, and I look forward to your assignments. Thanks for listening.